So you've decided what bugs you want to feed your chameleon, and you know what gut load and supplements and all that good stuff, but you're not sure how many bugs you should be feeding. So I'm gonna go over that today. How much you feed your chameleon is going to be dependent on two things. One is going to be how old is your chameleon, and then the second one is going to be how big are the bugs. So the age of your chameleon is going to determine how much they eat, because while they're younger, they're going to eat more while they're growing, and then as they're older, they're going to eat less. So if you have a baby chameleon, that's going to be anything that's 3 months old or younger, what would be considered a hatchling, then you're going to feed them 2 times a day. Once in the morning and once in the afternoon. And you're gonna feed them as much as they want to eat. Let them go crazy. These are growing little squirts, so it's totally fine if they eat tons and tons of bugs, and that should be expected, and you should plan for that. Now, if your chameleon is around 3 to, let's go with 8 months old, that would be considered a juvenile. So still a growing chameleon. They're gonna be shedding like crazy, growing like crazy, eating like crazy. So at that point, you'll wanna feed your chameleon once in the morning after lights have turned on, and you're gonna feed them anywhere from 10 to 15 bugs. But this is just a guideline, a general ballpark number. It could be more, it could be less. As long as your chameleon is continuing to eat, I wouldn't stress about it if maybe one day it's 7 bugs and the next day it's 12 bugs. Because there are multiple factors that could be influencing whether or not your chameleon is eating. So just keep that in mind. But that's the general ballpark, and you're gonna wanna feed them a variety of different bugs. And if you're not sure what bugs to feed to your chameleon, I will link that up above here and in the description box below, because I've already made a whole video on that, so be sure to check it out. Now, when your chameleon has hit the 8 to 9 month mark, that's when we want to start cutting back how much we're feeding them. The reason for this is because chameleon obesity is a very real thing. And if you're not sure if your chameleon is underweight or overweight or what a healthy chameleon looks like, then I would recommend that you check out my video all about chameleon weight, which I will also link up above here and in the description box below. If you haven't picked up on it, I have tons of videos already in regards to feeding your chameleon, so be sure to check those out. I would start at 8 to 9 months to start cutting back to every other day, doing more like 3 to 4 bugs. And then once they hit the 1 year mark, even maybe a little bit sooner, 3 to 4 bugs every 2 to 3 days. I have found this helps keep my chameleons lean. We don't want to put any extra stress on their body from them carrying extra weight or being underweight. This seems to be the happy number for my chameleons. Now, like I mentioned at the very beginning, the size of the bug is also going to make a difference. If I'm feeding a giant, juicy hornworm, that's going to be more substance than just a single little cricket. So keep in mind the size of the bug and the type of bug is going to influence how much you should be feeding to your chameleon. And there's no hard and fast rule for what that is. You just have to kind of use your best judgment. But the general rule of thumb when we're deciding how big of a bug to feed to our chameleon is the distance between their eyes. The bug should not be any bigger than that. Their mouth is only this big, so we don't want to give them a bug that's that big. So people ask me all the time, I have a 6-month-old chameleon, what size dubia roach should I order? You really just have to use your best judgment, because your 6-month-old might be a different size than my 6-month-old. Now, if we're talking about treat bugs, things like hornworms, superworms, waxworms, those are excellent treat bugs. That's not something that we should have as a regular part of our chameleon's diet, so make sure you're only feeding those sparingly, maybe using them as an opportunity to bond and build trust with your chameleon, but they should not be a part of that regular diet. I also wanted to touch on the number of bugs you feed to your chameleon and how that correlates to the number of eggs that your female chameleon could be laying. So if you didn't know, veiled and panther chameleons will actually lay infertile eggs. Jackson's chameleons give live birth, so that's a whole different situation over there. But for veils and panthers, even if your female's never been with a male, she will lay infertile eggs, similar to what chickens do. Now, if you need more information about that, you can check out my video on egg laying. However, you can actually influence the number of eggs she lays based off of how many bugs that she's eating. The more bugs you feed to your chameleon, the more eggs she's going to lay. So if you can keep your chameleon on a lean diet, then she won't lay so many eggs. Now this is great because that's less stress on her little body. If your chameleon can lay 20 to 30 eggs versus 80 eggs, that's gonna make a huge difference on her long-term health and overall well-being. So this is why it's super, super important that we restrict our chameleons' food and not just give them as much as they want to eat, and we're making sure that we're feeding them healthy, gut-loaded, supplemented bugs. The temperature that you keep your chameleon at will also influence the number of eggs she lays, so feel free to check out my videos about that as well. Now I have to imagine there's gonna be some of you watching this video who are at the point where your chameleon's not eating at all, or they're not eating enough, and there are multiple reasons why your chameleon may or may not be eating. The most common reasons would be they're a brand new chameleon, so they're getting adjusted to their new home. They don't feel like they have enough places to hide. They are potentially sick. They are on a hunger strike and just being super, super picky about only wanting to eat one type of bug. They could be getting ready to shed. They could be getting ready to lay eggs. All these different things could contribute to why your chameleon is eating or not eating. So I suggest that you check out my video on why isn't my chameleon eating? I know, such a clever title. And that can go into more detail and give you some reasons why your chameleon's only eating one type of bug and not other bugs, etc. I hope you guys have found this video helpful. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave any questions or comments down below. Feel free to subscribe so you know when I post a new video. And you can also check out multiple links that I have down in the description box. Merch links, discount links, Patreon links, additional video links, all that good stuff will be linked down below. You can also follow Neptune and all my chameleons on social media at Neptune the Chameleon. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye!